What is up, guys? Welcome back to another industry analysis. In this video, we're going to be talking about Marauders, but also more importantly, we're going to be looking at kind of what we could prepare for the 27th when the new ships come out. Now, the new Trig ship is a Marauder, so even though the materials for the ship are not publicly available, we can infer a lot from normal Marauder manufacturing. And I'll kind of give you an idea of like what I would do if I was trying to kind of stockpile and prepare to potentially build those things. Now, for the Trig Marauder that's coming out, the way that you get that BPC is going to be taking a Leshak BPC and doing an invention process on it. So whenever we do the numbers for the Marauders and stuff, I'm going to run it at ME0. Usually anytime I run any sort of analysis with my spreadsheet here for Tech 2 or anything like that, I try to run ME0 unless I physically am holding the blueprint copy for the Tech 2 that I can know for a fact what the ME is. So running ME0 means if I can get profits on ME0 and I get a BPC that's higher than 0, then I'm good to go. So let's go ahead and we're going to go and walk through all the Marauders first, and then we'll look at the Leshak and some other stuff that it might be a little bit interesting. So we're going to start off with the Paladin here. Let's go and run this. Now, a lot of these Marauders are not going to be like good to go right now, but once those new ships come out and everybody's kind of like looking at the same materials, because I don't think that the new Marauder for the Trigs are going to be much different than what's going into here. So, but just expansion aside, Paladin is looking good right now. We have a buy order value of about 1.2 billion. The 52-week low is actually 1.3, so a really good time to just buy a hull if you wanted. It can go as high in the past 300 or past 12 months. It's gone as high as 1.4. So it's also, you have, even with the ME10 on this, we're going to run this at 0 to see, but like at ME10, if you have a BPC that's like that, you're looking at 94 million. But like I said, anytime I'm running Marauders or anything off of BPC Tech 2, I'm going to try to lowball myself a little bit. Now you see we're about 18 million in the hole, but a lot of that has to do with some of the moon goo. Enriched uranium is pretty bad right now, but if you were going to be building these, you could just stockpile that for yourself in nullsec. And then the isotopes are really bad right now as well, but I suspect that once people start really kind of using that stuff later this month, the value of that is going to be a little bit better. But you can just get these isotopes and stuff. The only way to really you can make up this negative 18 million by mining a lot of this stuff, or acquiring a lot of this stuff yourself. Some of the other reds in here are going to be more of the moon goo and isotopes. Isotopes are going to be a big thing. Oxygen. So right now, just PI, I'd be like enriched uranium, oxygen. That would give us a little bit of a. That would actually be like 6 billion. That would be close our margin pretty well. And then pyrite, dude, 60 cost right now is 61. But if we just mine our own pyrite, we could do so much better. We could probably fix this hole right here by just having our own pyrite mined up. Same with robotics. Robotics is super cheap. So I think if you're doing and even Zydrine, if you're like going out there and you're mining Zydrine and you're getting water, oxygen, enriched uranium, maybe some stront, and what else? And pyrite, you're in profits right here, and you'll be good to go. You're also in a position with this Paladin to buy a hull in Jita and see if it goes up. I don't think the Marauder is going to go up with the expansion, but I think that the input materials are going to be not too different than what we're going to be looking for on the new ship. All right, let's get into Caldari. Look at Golem. I looked at Golem last night, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be fancy at all. 49 in the hull, -4 margins on that. It's also pretty good on buy order right now. It holds the all the Marauders are kind of in lockstep when it comes to the market. And all that has to do with just like the input materials coming in. So we're not going to spend too much time on these other Marauders because a lot of it's going to be kind of the same thing. The isotopes, the pyrite, all that stuff. And as you can see, we're looking at all these Marauders, regardless of faction, they all have pretty much the same kind of inputs going into them. All right, let's go and grab Galante here with the Chronos. We're going to go through these last two real quick, just because I think that they're going to be pretty much showing kind of the same thing a little bit. Ooh, profit on this one, actually. 52-week low on the Chronos is like 1.3. We're looking at 1.2 right now on buy order. It could go, same lockstep as the other ones as well, too. A little bit of a benefit here, about 10% margin on the Chronos right now. And a lot of that probably has to do with like the shifting around of oxygen and isotopes. I haven't really done a cross comparison of this stuff, but I would assume that it has to do with some of the difference in PI and stuff like that. But also it could just be just the sell order value is just better. It's at the median, right? So that's probably why we're looking a little bit better on that one. And then also, my other favorite is the Vargur. I personally like the Vargur and the Golem, mostly because I used the Golem earlier on because I was missile trained. But Vargur is really nice too. Also good on the buy order here as well. Gonna have a 1% margin, not great, but we can increase that by, like we said before, getting some of these isotopes, some of this moon goo, and some of this stuff. So the reason I wanted to kind of show these Marauders and kind of run them through the spreadsheet is so we can get a better idea on how we can speculate for the new Trig ship. So if I was going to actually be building the new Trig Marauder, I'd be stockpiling Morphite right now. Let's look at Morphite real quick. Each one of these Marauder runs is going to, at 0 ME, is going to use 975 Morphite. Right now, the Morphite value is about 34,000. And the lows for Morphite in the past 52 weeks is 64. And then the high is like 66. So I would 100%, if you're planning on, even if you're not planning on building the new Trig Marauder, stockpiling a lot of Morphite right now and then speculating and hoping it goes back up to around the 60s, you could potentially double your risk, so to speak. So that would be the first thing that I would be doing. The other thing we could be also looking at too is the Bastion module, because everybody's going to be building them to play them, and they're going to want the Bastion module as well. We're going to actually throw ME10 back on here, because that is something we can kind of control here. So we can acquire Bastion modules right now for about 9.4 on buy order. And you can even sell order. You can flip them, actually. The sell order is pretty good too. But the 52-week low goes from like 10 million up to like 52-week high of like 11 million. Again, the 800, almost 900,000 negative. It's barely, it's barely breaking even. Or barely almost breaking even, right? If you have the pyrite and you have the Zydrine or even some of the Noxium, boom, you're in green. You're in the black on this stuff. So if you're out there mining in nullsec right now, you have the Bastion module, BPO, all that stuff. Go after the Zydrine ore, go after pyrite ore, go after Noxite, and then just stack all those other things and just start building these guys, and you'll be good to go. Because I have a feeling that like all the pyrites probably going to get sucked out of the market when this stuff starts coming out, which could actually fix the pyrite problem right now. The other thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at the Leshak, because the Leshak is actually a required input, just like all the other Marauders. All the other Marauders require the battleship equivalent to go into it. So the Leshak is going to be getting built quite a bit. So people are going to be building them. Then they're going to take in their extra BPCs to run Invention to get the actual Marauder BPC. So a lot of this stuff in here we could also kind of speculate on as well. So we could actually build Leshak right now for profit. Actually, we're going to run ME0 on this because these come out of loot drops because they're BPCs when they come out of it. All right, so that's a little bit better of a picture. 57 million on those. I have a feeling that is going to do a lot better Once a lot of this stuff starts getting sucked out of the market, supply and demand and all that, then some of this stuff will fluctuate and everything. But like some of the other stuff in here, like nanites, are going to be used a lot. Robotics, a lot of that stuff we were like looking at the Marauders to stockpile is actually going into the base ship for the most part. So if you're looking at like all the input materials here for this, Mexilon is going to be a big one. Zydrine is going to be a big one. And then the 0 point concentrate is going to be a big one too. Viral agents. Usually what I do is I look for things that are way overpriced on my input materials, and I'll just try to source those myself, and then I'll value them at 52-week low, and then I can get my profits that way. But like I said, Moongoo, Noxium, right now, good to go. But that's pretty much it. I wanted to kind of cover this a little bit. We don't have the information out for both the Dreadnought and the Trig Marauder yet. Once the patch drops, we can run those through this, and we'll see exactly what's going on. But I figured I'd make a video. We still have a few days, you know, about a week or so before it's time to like go on that ship if you want to build it. So just to kind of recap, Morphite in a very good spot to potentially double your investment right now. Look at building or holding or buying and holding Bastion Module 1s. Even if you can buy like Leshak hulls, which their buy order value is not great right now. Their 52-week low is 581 million. They're at like 630 right now. So I think some people are already speculating on that a little bit and probably buying them up, which is increasing the price. But just look at those base things like Bastion modules, Morphite, Pyrite, any of that stuff that's like kind of, you know, hitting the low end right now, or the high end rather. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and look forward to you know, the new expansion, and we'll be running that stuff through once it comes out. And I'll see you in the next one.